All right, everyone, welcome into episode number 33 of the Hooley Brothers podcast. Off another kind of week hiatus for us. Again, getting a little bit tough with these summer weekends, the plans going on. We have a lot to dive into here. Obviously, been about a week since we've last been on. I think maybe technically 6 days, not quite a week. But anyway, Mike, how you doing over there?
Not bad. A little burnt. Got some sun this weekend, but outside of that, pretty good.
I feel you. Me as well. And also, I need to take a quick pause, Mike. Hold on. Gonna throw this on here since I'm battling, Mike. I'm battling. This is my flu game. Okay. This is my. I got the D Rose, not quite the Jordan, but we're throwing the Bulls jersey on. I got my vaccine number 2 yesterday, and I was feeling the heat today. No pun intended. Like literally feeling hot. And yeah, so I decided this is it. This is my flu podcast. So here we go. We'll kind of dive right into everything here. Again, I'm just depressed as hell with the Celtics. So why don't we start with hockey?
Bees kid.
So again, kind of getting two polar opposites as far as the teams that we're seeing in Boston as far as the winter sports go. We'll get to the depressing Celtics who are getting smoked again by the Nets right now in just a bit here. But, yeah, why don't we start with the Bruins, man? Again, we were talking a little bit before this. We're not sure what the textbook definition of a gentleman's sweep is, but let's go ahead and call it that. I think there's you can argue it's any 5-game series. They gave up 1 and won 4 in a row. I think that certainly qualifies. There's also the 3-0, give one up, win again. But anyway, a gentleman's sweep of the Caps. I know we were recording during Game 3. Craig Smith hit the game-winning shot in that one. And then Friday night, early start. Again, I don't know if you want to kind of give a quick recap or dive into each one at a time, Mike. But
yeah, let's do each one at a time, I'd say, very quickly. So, yeah, I think we stopped like halfway through the first overtime. So, or like
it was good towards the end of it, I
towards
think.
The end of the first overtime. So there's a couple minutes in. Sam Sonoff took a nap, and Craig Smith answered the wake-up call, the call from Jack Edwards at the end of that game. Just an absolute brain fart by him. Kind of just left the puck behind the net to no one, and Craig Smith just swooped in with the wraparound. That was a huge momentum shifter because it seemed like going up 2-1 in that series was huge, especially if they had another home game right after that to completely take a stranglehold in the series. And they really did on Friday. So, and again, another early start, and I was on my way to the Cape, so had to sit through all that traffic on a Friday night. So it was actually
good.
Where I was going down with 2 of my boys, and they're just the ultimate guys being dudes. We had the stream going to the car audio. We had like the anthem playing through the car on Route 3, about to go over the sound. Had Jack Edwards hyping us up through like the mountains before he got
in.
It was just a really good game. It was
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I know I noted that was just the power play in the first line. 3 power play goals. Pasternak scored, Marchand scored. Grizzly also in the power play. McAvoy shipped in 3 assists, so it just seemed like a very dominant win.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of talked about Game 4. I mean, we talked, we were in the middle of Game 3 or again towards the end of the first overtime last time we were on here, and luckily it was a lot less stressful, I think, of Games 4 and 5. It seemed, it didn't quite get to overtime. There were maybe times where it looks like, especially in Game 5, I think where it looks like it might have gotten closer, but like you said, first line and then the power play unit really won Game 4. Similar, I had a few guys over here to watch on Friday night, which was nice. McAvoy with the 3 assists, kind of like you were saying before, and then again, that's kind of where at that point it seemed like, all right, let's just end this now. Let's not extend this any longer than it needs to be. And they went down to Washington. Tuca with 40 saves to clinch the series in Washington there. So again, they were completely outshot by the Caps in Game 5, so just shows you how
19.
Yeah, just how like efficiency is really the most important factor there, and it's not just the number of shots. And kind of going back to Samsonov again, we've heard some insider sources on the translating, and we pretty much telling him not to fall asleep behind the net, which was again, if you trust the Russian lip reader sources there, but. Again, he didn't face nearly as many shots as Rask did, but the Bruins were able to come away with the victory in this one and wrap things up.
Yeah, it was a pretty nasty dangle by Pasternak on that first goal.
Oh, my God, I know.
And then Bergeron is getting that second goal to go into the third period. I know it was the scariest lead, but it's 1 period left, down 3-1. They did bounce back pretty quickly with Sherry scoring right away, but Bergeron was able to ice it later on in the third and finish off that series victory.
Yeah, absolutely. So they win in 5. We got the best tradition in sports, as they say. The handshake line following that, following a very chippy series, really, between two teams, a lot of penalty minutes going either way. And Mike, you noted here, kind of, have we seen the end of 2 NHL, kind of legends here? I mean, maybe one more so as one of the all-time greats with Ovechkin. What does that mean as far as his career? I think for a while. Oh, and Evan Fournier just called the B word. Very interesting here as a fight 24-point game. But I mean, sure, Fournier, go off, King. But yeah, I mean, obviously Ovechkin, because I think there's times in the past where he said he's either going to re-sign the Caps or go back and play in Russia at the end of his career.
So it's kind of a crossroads there.
Mm-hmm. So, but no, again, he said that he doesn't really envision himself playing for another team, right? So it seems like
it's either going to be the Caps or Russia, like you said. But I think I saw a story today that they're going to try to make something work to keep him in Washington, which is nice.
I hope so, man. Yeah, I mean, Ovi's one of my favorite players, not just because we share a birthday, but again, fun to see him on the ice again. One of the all-time greats. I think pretty much since I really started watching hockey, it's kind of him and Crosby coming in at the same time. So
kind of saved the league after that lockout.
Yeah, exactly. So again, hope that he's able to stick around for a few more years here. And speaking of sticking around, again, Zdeno Chara was obviously in Boston for 16 years. This is his first year in Washington. Is he 43 now? Is that how? Yeah, because I know him and Brady are usually pretty similar ages. But have we seen the end of the line for him? Will he be back there? Kind of what the deal is. A lot of question marks kind of coming off of a somewhat disappointing series for the Caps.
Yeah, it was a 1-year league minimum deal for him, or at least like underneath $1 million. I'm not sure what the whole money is there, but it was a pretty cheap deal 1 year. Mm-hmm. And he seemed to be pretty buried on their D pairings. I think he was their third pair D, and especially at this juncture, like part of the reason why the Bruins want to move on from him. Like, yes, he's kind of the big body, but he was way too slow around some of these quicker teams. Whereas, like, we kind of wanted to match up better with like the Lightning or the Penguins or something where they're a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. You kind of need these like younger, quick defensemen, which is why the Bruins left on. So the game might be outgrowing him, which is not everyone's Tom Brady. Can be amazing at 43. The fact that he was able to play some good minutes at that age is remarkable. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you didn't see too much on this series. Kind of like I think maybe you're used to seeing him when he was on the Bruins playing all these minutes. It was kind of a more reduced role. As you were saying before, and Mike, I see your last comment here on the Bruins is how confident we're in round 2, and I'd say probably dangerously confident.
Yeah, I'm feeling
again. Good.
I'm feeling good. I mean, I just think that how they responded in game 2, like we said, the fact that it was some lower line scoring too, and the fact that they were able to like end that overtime so quickly right away. It seemed like they kind of took the momentum there. And there was a real slugfest of a game 3, and they were able to finish that off. It just seemed like two huge wins for their confidence. And the Bruins are at their best when their top line scoring and their power play is on fire, and Tuukka is doing his job. I know his back might not be what it used to be, but he's still that game 5 performance is really good. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
maybe want to see a little bit more depth scoring. I know, like I said, like kind of Hall. He had one game too, I think. So
yeah.
So like
absolutely, and he's just so fast too.
I think Coyle scored in game 3, which is good, or game 4. Sorry, Coyle scored in game 4. So many games have happened since then, all
running together. Yeah.
So yeah. Just got to keep the hot streak going.
And knocking on.
Well, rest early. Sorry.
Yeah, and now knocking on wood here. I'd missed game 1, so we're undefeated since I started watching. So
did I.
Gonna have to, could be in trouble this weekend. I have a Indian wedding in Jersey, so this is a multiple night ceremony. So depending on when the series starts, I know that might kind of vary on how late this Islanders Penguins series goes, but. Yeah, we'll try to make it work in some capacity. But again, it's how confident you are. Again, just dangerously confident. They look so good. Like I said, that pretty much again the gentlemen will see 4 games after losing game 1 to the Caps, and again, not following the game too closely. It seems like they can hang with either team that comes out of this next series here.
Yeah, it was kind of like I think if you look at the regular season schedule, it was with Pittsburgh. They were kind of like They won the first couple. I think they won the first 2 or 3, and then the rest of the way they're pretty 500 with them. Whereas the Islanders, they couldn't win on Long Island. I remember the first 15 games when they were 13-2, all their losses were on Long Island. But by the end of the year, they seemed to figure them out. So, and this can kind of feed in more into the storyline in that series. I can kind of talk into that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we can get right into that. So obviously, again, Bruins on to the next round. And we can kind of talk about, more big picture of the league goes. But again, on a 4-game win streak there, then kind of going to that other series happening in the East Division, the Isles Penguins were tied 2-2, but then Isles picked up a win last night, 3-2 on their way back to Long Island. And again, they had a big Game 4 win Saturday after losing 5-4 in Game 3 at the Nassau Coliseum. And again, able to get a big win in double overtime last night versus Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so there was kind of a big switch up. I want to get the games and box scores in line, so I'm pulling that up now. So since we talked last, it was a 1-1 series there. And I think the first game, let me go back. Yeah, I think the first game, I just want to get the goalies in line, that Varlamov was out the first game. So they went to this kid Sorokin. He was able to, he had a nice 39 saves, and he was holding off in overtime. And then went back to Varlamov for games 2 and 3. And he just not play well, especially, he had a pretty good game in the Game 2, as they lost 2-1. But on Thursday night, he gave up 5 goals to the Penguins. So they went back to the kid on Saturday for Game 4, and a 4-1 victory. And then he was pretty nails in the double overtime last night. So they had this young goaltender out of nowhere that's playing hot, which makes him a little bit dangerous. Where on the flip side, Tristan Jarry is looking awful. Did you catch how that game ended yesterday?
No, I mean, again, I tried to, I pretty much just took the night off with no Boston team going on, and trying to get to bed a little bit early.
I didn't see it this morning. I was in bed pretty early last night, but it was a double overtime. It was kind of it was the same kind of mishap that Samsonov had, but it was worse. It was a puck that was not even behind the net. It was right to the side of the net, where instead of throwing it off the boards, he threw it to the middle of the ice, and Bailey put it in the net in double overtime. So he's looked a lot diggy throughout this series. So I guess I'm kind of leading I want to play the Islanders more, just because Yari's been all over the place, and Sorokin has been on fire for them.
So you want to play the Penguins more, you mean?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They have a young kid that.
I don't know if it's.
It's a backup. We're maybe that could be Swayman, but the way that Rass has looked pretty good lately, this is kind of the spin zone I was giving if Rass was bad. Oh, yeah, the Swayman kid that can play well. Or now they just have the Sorokin kid that's playing well. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking that's I was gonna say it seems like a Bruins thing. It's a hot young goaltender that seems like the worst recipe for them. That seems like one they usually use. But I'm kind of working on a little theory here that might just be a Boston sports thing too. Because I'm thinking about every time the Patriots played a backup quarterback, they seem to lose. I'm picturing this pitcher stinks. So we're talking about they dominate the Red Sox. Even the Celtics, Tyler Hero last year seems to be kind of anytime you run into these young guys with not a lot of tape on them, our Boston teams just seem to struggle, especially again the Bruins with those young goaltenders. So, I think either way, then you're probably rooting for Pittsburgh in Game 6 to at the very least extend the series, if not have the Penguins kind of come back here and win the last 2, and face maybe a shakier goaltender in round 2 here. But
I guess you gotta. I think I just want 7 just because they get the most games out of them. Though it will be pretty, especially the fact that. Put a little more pressure on the Islanders because they lose Game 6. That could be the last game in the Coliseum. So,
man, yeah.
I'm imagining that place is going to be pretty raucous.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny though because again, kind of going to the next round here, I'm wondering just because I think we're trying to figure out new schedules, and it's funny because if it goes 7, that means that Game 7 will be Friday night, right? Or would it be earlier?
I believe so. They're every other.
Yeah, but then there's weird ones where they do back-to-back, which is, again, one thing
That was only the Canada division, kind of
okay.
Keep up the pace. I think they did, Games 3. Both the series, they did Games 3 and 4 back-to-back just to,
catch up a little bit. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I thought I was watching part of the game last time. Maybe I tuned in for a little bit, and I thought they were saying, "Oh, if there's a game 7, it would be Thursday after Wednesday." They said that on the broadcast, but then when I went on like the ESPN app, it said Friday, so I was very confused.
No, yeah, there's 3 possible game 7s that can happen on Friday,
Oh, that's exciting.
and then one
Um,
that could happen on Saturday, and then one that can happen on Monday.
so basically, okay, so let's kind of go back to it here. I wonder what they'll do if this series does go 7, because then you're kind of lined up for a game 1 on Sunday, but Celtics have to have their funeral that day. So I'm wondering if they would maybe do a noon puck drop or something like that.
It depends who wins, though.
Oh, that's a good point, Mike. Because if it's Pittsburgh, they go there, right? Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
you're right. I was talking about that the other day. Yeah, if the Islanders won in 7, that's what I'm not really sure what the NHL would do, because again, you have the Celtics. I think they're slated for a 7 p.m. tip off that night. Obviously, same arena. So yeah, maybe you could do an early one, but playoff hockey, I'm just thinking back to the bubble last year when the Bruins had that 11 a.m. Game because it got put.
Save it, have it be the night.
We'll see.
Memorial Day. That's usually a big day for hockey. I feel like in normal times, that's when the cup begins.
Yeah,
Memorial Day.
Monday, they just typically don't. I don't know. I feel like they don't really wait 2 days, but hey, maybe they will. We'll have to see how that plays. I mean, that just seems like the one scenario of you could either be Islanders in 6, Islanders in 7, or Penguins in 7. So
even if the Islanders win in 6, that's Wednesday. We're not going to be able to play until Saturday because it'll be game 3 in Boston on Friday.
Game 3. Well, that I can see a little bit though, because at least it's ending a little early. See, maybe you do Saturday. That's very interesting. Yeah, we're gonna see if this shapes out if the Islanders win that series either way, because that's a good point. It's if they take the 2 days off just to line up, I think that makes the most sense. But the NHL typically doesn't like waiting 2 days, which I respect. I respect so much, because I think no matter how you land on this whole basketball hockey deal, this is ridiculous. How do the Celtics play 3 games in a 6-day span? Like, how do they get 2 days off twice? Like, it doesn't make sense. Or 7-day span, rather. 3 games, yeah. Saturday, Tuesday, Friday. How is that a schedule? Like that, especially this series. Like, can we just end it? Like, again, we'll get to that in a little bit here, but I respect the NHL scheduling way more than the NBA.
I just don't get how there's only 2 games last night.
I think they just don't want to stack 4 in a night or something. So they're like, okay, well, we do 2, 3, and 3. That's how you get to the 8 somehow. And because it seems like they only want to do 4 games on the weekend.
Yeah.
Weekend days, so you can kind of stack them more. So they only want to have like 3 in a night. But I'm like, just figure it out. Come on, like we don't have all year here, especially with we're gonna try to get the schedule back to normal. But anyway, little side tangent there. So yeah, we'll see obviously how round 2 shapes up once we get a winner of that Islanders Penguins series here. Switching gears over to the Central. So we have. I like how you wrote Smashville here, Mike, as far as the Nashville Predators. I think that's awesome. I liked seeing Taylor Lewan the other day just smashing those beers.
Yeah, with his family. Like, I think they cut to him with his family. Then I think like some of the linemen were like all together. Then I cut back to him, and he was going drinking beer out of Catfish in front of his family. Crazy scene.
Well, the Catfish one, I think was now on a flashback to 2018.
No, he did it in 2018, but I think. They showed him with his family, then they cut him to something. It could have been a flashback on a Jumbotron, or I thought like his somewhere else, and then it cut back to him, and then he was doing it next to his family, like he was crushing a beer, taking off his shirt, like right next to his little kid.
So yeah, because I saw like a video and it showed the Catfish thing. I think was 3 years ago, unless I'm mistaken. Because what the clip I saw from the other day was him pounding one in his seat with his family, then taking the jersey off, then asking someone else to throw him one, and then also drinking a second one. He just spilled most of it on himself, but hey, it's good fun. I love seeing linemen just go crazy at hockey games. I think the Holo line was there for them before. It's just something that's a lot of fun there. But obviously, Nashville was able to survive at home with 2 overtime victories. We have Game 5 going on right now. 2-1 Preds with 13:55 to go in the second period there. So that series taking a bit of a turn after Carolina went up 2-0.
Yeah, like I saw like Game 1, like Nashville scored the first goal. I was like, "Ooh, this could be like a pretty good upset." And then the Hurricanes took over, and it was more of the same on Wednesday with Game 2. They went up, they scored 3-0. But I think the story here is the netminder for Nashville, Saros, back-to-back double overtime victories with 52 and 58 saves.
50, was it 52 and 58?
52. I mean, granted, double overtime, so like they're
Still.
like winning the game 5-4, 52 saves on Friday night and following up with a Sunday afternoon, 58 with a 95% save performance. So Nashville is just lingering around, just giving some thrillers at home, and
Yeah.
up 2-1 on the road. That's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, game 5 going on right now. Liking seeing a lot of 2-2 series. We might not get that as much in the NBA, so good to see them in hockey. And then also in the other matchup there, the Panthers are hanging around a bit here with Tampa Bay. I know Tampa Bay kind of went. They also had a 2-0 series lead, and then I think they were up 3-1 here, and then the Panthers were able to steal game 5 to force a game 6.
Yeah. So both games. So they're up 2-0 going back to Tampa. Panthers were able to eke out a throw on Thursday, 6-5 in overtime, and then on Saturday, this was we'll get to the PGA later, but I was bored at work on Friday. Threw a couple golf bets, did not go my way. So why not? I'm down the Cape. I'm going to throw like a relatively big size bet. I was really confident in the Lightning to win game 4, and they did. So that was a nice little pick me up over the weekend. And then I think the story of yesterday was your boy saving the season for the Panthers in game 5.
My boy. Let's hear it.
Spencer Knight.
Spencer Knight. Yeah, again, a little younger than me. I didn't get to see him live there, but yeah, good to see those BC guys balling out because again, not as many get to do so in the NBA. We see a little bit more in the NFL, but again, traditionally a hockey school. So yeah, always good to see an Eagle doing well there. But yeah, it seems like Tampa Bay was going to run away there. They've made it a series.
I mean, it was like I think stealing game 3 was big, and then yeah, they went 6-2. I had a feeling. It was game 4. I didn't think Tampa losing both games at home. They didn't. And switching netminders against them at home in game 5 was definitely the call. He had 36 saves. I mean, it's incredible. He was playing an NCAA tournament 2 months ago.
Yeah. I know that's always so wild. Yeah, I remember Chris Kreider back in 2012 coming off of winning a national championship and then playing for the Rangers in the playoffs. Yeah. That is really cool about hockey.
Like Cale Makar, like on the Avalanche a couple years ago, he came right from the Mass, went there, and I think this is the first goalie to ever do it. So
yeah, that's insane. A goalie. I mean, again, you could throw someone on the 3rd, 4th line, but you get to see a goalie getting kind of the starting nod here and really do well. That's
especially
crazy.
These like young like scoring guys in college. If like you're down 2-1 a series, you need some like a spark of offense. Like I will throw in the kid on the 3rd line and see what happens.
Yeah,
these BC kids, like these BC goalies, are Demko had a good run in the bubble last year. So
yeah, Corey Schneider back in the day.
Yeah, but it's gonna be tough going back to the other side of Florida with Tampa.
Yeah,
the way that Kucherov is playing after being out all year, I think he has like 9 points in 4 games. So I mean 5 games now. So
yeah,
that's
absolutely
definitely a maneuver the cap that way. Hold him out in IR all year so you can fill up your roster and then get to the playoffs. Cap doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we'll obviously keep an eye on the Central. And Mike, do we still know what division's playing which once we get to the Final Four, or is that still kind of TBD?
So it could.
So it's the most. That makes the most sense, I think.
Yeah. So it's like it's weird. It could be like, I'm not sure what the standings are. It could be like Bruins, Avalanche in the conference semifinals, and then like
Toronto and like Tampa Bay or something.
Yeah. Or whatever.
But okay, no, I was just curious enough that makes the most sense. Again, with these 4 divisions, there's no clear east and west side. There's only really one west division here, so I think I'd say if anything, it'd be the east and north. But I think this does make a lot more sense here. Yeah. So then going out west, I think what we expected, Avalanche make light work. They do sweep the Blues here, but a series I thought would be a little bit more compelling. Which again, starting to turn back a little bit that way was that Wild Vegas one. Vegas seemed like they were taking control here, but the Wild are able to steal game 5 to force a game 6. And Mike, I see you noticed the home teams are 1-4 in this series.
Yeah. Game 2, I know we recorded before that. It was Wild was up early and it seemed like the crowd was getting a little restless, and then came back with a ferocious second and third period to win 3-1, and then kind of just took care of business out in out in Minnesota, winning 5-2 in Game 3, and then shutting them out 4-0. That was a regular size bet, but all the boys were back in the Knights because I was down the cave sitting by my friend from Vegas, so he's a big Knights fan. So that was again a nice little one in my column. And then last night, I really thought the Knights were just going to finish them off, do like the same thing the Bruins did, but shaky night for Marc-Andre Fleury. The Wild were able to win 4-2 with only 13 shots on net.
Mm-hmm. Wait, 13?
Yes. One was an empty netter, so technically
three out of
13.
13? Okay, jeez, yeah, that's no good.
Yeah, and I think the Knights had like 40. So
yeah, jeez,
a fluke game.
Yeah, you're talking about kind of like the Bruins game.
That's a fluke game. That's why I was kind of very happy the Bruins won, because that was a fluke win.
And then now it's a series. Yeah,
Minnesota, and they haven't won at home yet. So like,
yeah, I guess the Bruins would have been coming home, but still,
it's scary. It's scarier for the Knights, but
yeah,
I still think they'll hold on either one.
Me too. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's one you kind of wanted to go get ahead and give you some rest.
Yeah. And then
flipping back to the Avalanche, they just proved the better team. McKinnon went off, and I think game one to keep him in, and then I think it's
there's a clear top three in that division. So
I think it's going to be like the Celtics series. They did all they could in the first half, and then you're just going to get steamrolled the rest of the way. I know we're getting all our Celtics takes out during hockey, but
yeah. And then finally going up north again, this division got a little bit of a later start than the other ones, so a little bit further behind. We do have the Leafs that are up 2-1 on Montreal. That game actually happening right now that they're about to go up. I mean, unless something crazy happens, they're going to go 3-1 because they're winning 3-0 in this game against Montreal.
Toronto's blown a 3-goal lead in the third period.
Yeah, I know. That's true. 2 original and 6 rival before. So that's a good point. But again, leading 3-0 right now. If results hold, it'll be a 3-1 lead there. But lost John Tavares in game 1 after a really scary injury there. I saw him, kind of got out for a while, took the stretcher off to give the thumbs up. But obviously scary injury there to see from your best players.
Yeah, kind of got a little physical after that. I think just because Corey Perry seems like a guy that maybe have done this before. So physical. I think some guy, I forget the name, like a deadline acquisition came by, give a fight, and it kind of seemed like he kind of got the team together because they've been kind of in a wagon ever since that game. So should be interesting to see if they finish round 5.
Yeah. So again, obviously, like I said, we'll see if any drastic changes there, but again, on pace or on track for a Leafs 3-1 series lead there. And then finally, I'm not even getting the Oilers. I'm blaming those uniforms, those weird non-classic uniforms they wore for a couple games there. But they, as you wrote here, wasting the year of absolute stud Connor McDavid, losing in the first round, getting swept by the Jets, who advanced to the next round to face the winner of Toronto and Montreal. But yeah, Oilers out early again.
And they give it to me every year. I'm like, okay. But yeah, the best player, the best player in the league.
They had the number 1 pick because they always do.
I'm like, okay, it's finally the year to make some noise. And like last year, I think they might have been like a 5 seed. They lost to a 12.
That's right.
That best of 5. And this year, the Jets just made quick work of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget. Dominic Moore. That's what it is on NBC.
Former Lightning?
Yeah. He's kind of like on and off. Like he was that first Sunday with Patrick Sharp, and he wasn't back on again until last night with Anson Carter.
Okay.
He's done his overtime picks. So he missed on the first one, but he's gone the right guy to score every single time.
That's kind of crazy.
He didn't like broadcast for a week, so he's gone 3 in a row because he got that Erickson one in game 1, and was able to get the 2-1s between Bailey for the Islanders last night, and I forget who scored for the Jets, but crazy.
Wild. But yeah, I mean, again, what's it?
You said wild, and I was like, yes, not the hockey team.
No, correct. It's not Minnesota. But anyway, so again, we had a bit of a catch up to do there on NHL. We do have a couple teams again into the next round here. I guess 3 total with the Bruins, the Avalanche, and the Jets. So 3 out of the 8 are set. We'll obviously keep a track on the other 5 series here. And we'll obviously kind of just keep it going again. We'll have it probably another week of layoff here, which is again a little bit tough during the playoffs. But again, things are starting to open up again. Again, I'll be traveling for a bit of a wedding here, but we should hopefully try to get more on track. We'll see how the weekends go.
Yeah, it was just bad timing. Like you were in the Cape, and then I was in the Cape. And the weekend. And then, I think we'll get back on track.
Yeah, we will. It's the first round too. I mean, it's tough to get down to like the nitty gritty here, but anyway. Let's shift gears here. We'll go to basketball. Why don't we just get it out of the way? We'll start with the hometown team. I'm going to throw kind of two stories in at once here. One, don't care for the Maine White Claws being renamed the Maine Celtics, but still having a lobster in their logo. It doesn't really make sense to me. And the only reason I bring that up is because they're playing right now. We have Pritchard, Neesmith, Grant Williams, Romeo Langford, and who else am I missing here? I'm only seeing the four of them. And Semi Ojeleye out there. So essentially, one of the closest versions we get to the White Claws minus Taco and actually looks like Luke Cornett and Tremont Waters are about to check in. So this game's over if you couldn't get that by what's going on. 119-97. So not terrible offense by the Celtics, but they fell victim to Joe Harris early tonight. And then Blake Griffin also dunked all over him. So really not even the big three. I mean, Kyrie kind of went off in the third quarter here, but that kind of night. And rewinding quickly to game one, I know, Mike, you didn't really catch any of that. And you said, feel free to add more. I missed most of this game. I fell asleep. So again, day at the beach, got some sun. And also I think I kind of spin zoned myself. It was, if I fall asleep, I don't have to watch this collapse because they did have that big lead.
How big was it? I mean, I was tracking a little bit, but
it wasn't massive. I probably like around 10, like 10 maybe. Yeah, like nothing crazy, but yeah, I mean, we were driving up from the beach, and I was listening to it on the radio, and I'm like, things are actually going kind of well here. So, yeah, then I get home. It's kind of time for the second half, and I see things starting to unravel. I'm a little tired. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna lay down, see if I fall asleep, and then I did, which was good because I didn't have to watch this kind of epic failure going on. I had the game on, so I felt like I wasn't completely abandoning them, but yeah, it was not good. They collapsed on the stretch there. Kemba did not have a good game. I mean, Tatum was fine, I guess, but yeah, not great. And then now again tonight, 122-97, the score with 4 minutes left. And again, I talked about it with the spacing of the schedule already annoying me, just because. But I've never been more ready for an off season for a team before. Like it's just just get them out. Like I wish we could just opt out.
Yeah,
I want to pull Coach Taylor and just be like, no, we're done here. We're not coming out for the second half of the series.
Yeah, well, we'll always remember that playing game.
Which also, again, doesn't really matter too much. But do you think those stats just don't count for anything? Like the 50 burger for Tatum. Van Gundy was going off on this the other day. He's like, that's just stupid. He's like, what is it? Is it the regular season or the playoffs? It's one of them. Don't say they don't count for anything. He's like, if you're going to say it's a playing tournament, it's the playoffs. Like, it should count as a 50-point game for Tatum. I mean, not that matters that much, but weird. Apparently the game just never happened.
Yeah, so like I said, I wasn't really watching because only one TV, and we had like the Knights game on for a little and kind of enjoy seeing.
Not much to watch anyway.
It was a beautiful night, but I was tracking the score, and even as me, like I knew they were gonna blow it because like I said, I was placing a couple bets this weekend. Only Tony are the ones that won. I had a lot of years, but I took the -8 at the Nets because like I was getting a lot of crap for it with my friends. I'm like, this team stinks, and then they're down by 10. Like the Celtics are up by 10. I'm like, I still think this team covers. Like I'm not watching.
Yeah,
I can just tell.
Yeah.
It seems like they were like 1 of 10 from 3 in the first half. I'm like, that they're gonna find the norm there, and it seems like they might not even in that game. It seems Joe Harris is hit his norm tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also just like it was one of those things too. The Nets were shooting so poorly. It's like you had to go up 25, or like you had to go up huge in that game. The fact that they only went up 8 or 10 points was just like, all right, you left the door wide open for them, and they came in pretty much outscored you by about 20 points, winning by 11 down at the end there. So. Yeah, just an ugly game. Maybe they get one in Boston. I don't know, but obviously down 2-0 now to the Nets, and yeah, just really not happy about or not. Just want this to end. Want this to be over. I want to get on with the rest of the NBA playoffs with the Celtics out. But just not great.
I mean, hopefully, if they're not playing until Sunday, we're not recording until Tuesday. We don't have to talk about that. Not ever gonna.
They could just be out by then. Yeah. Again, I think they should almost I don't know, just
Oh, Brooklyn.
I just hope the Nets don't win. Yeah, exactly. Don't stay exactly. I just hope they don't win. I'm anyway with the Nets and Lakers, which again they're obviously probably the two of the favorites, but um,
I'll get to my team that I know we didn't give our predictions quite yet, but of course it's a little.
I know that was the only awkward part. It's like we were in this weird like the playoffs hadn't started yet. We had kind of everything going on there, but yeah. But why don't we get into again? We were pretty much we only had one playing game done last week, so I might jump around a little bit here, but finishing up the East, Wizards steamrolled the Pacers. Pretty straightforward. We don't really have to go into much detail there to get the 8th seed. We'll get into their series versus the Sixers in a bit, but yeah, that was pretty much a steamroll. Don't really know how hard they tried to win the 7. Kind of a smart strategy. I'd rather play Philly than Brooklyn, but I don't know. What are you gonna do there? And after our last recording, actually, I stayed up for that whole Lakers-Warriors game, which did end up being a great game. So, at least if I was going to do that, I'm glad it was worth it. And it's just, and we saw it again on Sunday, so we can talk about it more. But I'm just these LeBron shenanigans, man. Like I'm really, I have such a complicated relationship with him, whether I like him or don't. But it's definitely on a downswing now, and. Oh my God, dude! It's like how are you taking yourself seriously with this stuff? And trust me, I am the furthest thing from a Draymond Green fan. Probably not the cleanest play of all time, but I think he just has short arms. He went for the stuff. He taps Braun in the face, and he's down for about three minutes here, and getting. I mean, granted, he made a fantastic shot to win that game. It was another one of those games where not quite to the same degree of the Celtics, but I was just like, they're gonna win. No matter how this gets, no matter how many points the Warriors go up, they were up like about 15 at halftime. You kind of just had a feeling they were going to come away with a victory. I mean, the Warriors, even late on, they did better than I thought they would, but the fact that Braun hits this like 30-footer three-pointer, and when he saw 3 rims, which, again, you got poked in the eye, even if we're going to believe that, that does not result in a concussion in you seeing 3 rims, so just get right out of here with that. But anyway, an insane game, and I know it kind of spoke a lot there, so I'll let you get into it now. And actually open a window up if you just want to say your piece on it, but that's just kind of just, again, a crazy game.
Yeah, so like I said, I was really down on the game that night. I was tired and just really into the Bruins game, but I ended up watching the first half, and it was a good game. But when I went to bed, I was like, I still think they're going to, at the very least, make a game out of this. I think they're going to win still, meaning the Lakers, but this is at least going to come down to the wire. I was mad, but I knew I wanted to get up early the next day and figured it would be a game that would mean nothing in the long run, which I guess I was slightly wrong about, as we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, I do agree. Like if you're seeing 3, like if the rim is blurry, yeah, totally. Like it affects your vision, but it doesn't like give you a headache or at all. I think
that's if you're believing that too.
I think you just wanted to quote Rocky 4.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Again, it's just like you don't have to try this hard, man. Like you're one of the best players of all time. Like this is why people don't like you, or again, say you'll never be Jordan. It's just stuff like this. Like you just like did normal things, like this, just it wouldn't happen. It's just it's crazy. It was nowhere near that bad of an injury, and I don't know.
To prove it wasn't
anyway,
Mickey Mouse ring.
What's that?
Once it proves the last ring wasn't the Mickey Mouse.
The Mickey Mouse ring, exactly. Literally, a literal Mickey Mouse ring. But like you said, Mike, a game that we thought wasn't going to mean anything because, then the loser's going to end up getting the 8th seed here. But then on Friday night, Ja Morant and the Grizzlies kind of lead the way there, and they upset the Warriors. And, Mike, I'm not even feel about this, but there were a few late Grayson Allen 3-pointers that really iced it for the Grizzlies there and took them over top on the Warriors.
Yeah, it was like again, it was like a Friday night with friends, and like really kind of was like, okay, I don't even watch sports tonight. Like the Warriors probably gonna win. Like I got a thing on my phone, and it was like across Vegas, I think. So it was like a 4-point spread or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think like when it came to spread bets, like 89% of the money was on the Warriors, and 80% was on money line bets for on the Warriors too.
Okay.
So it was kind of just like I was looking at my phone, and I was like, the Chris Berman. Oh, like when I saw they're up pretty big, pretty late in the third quarter. So like I was tracking the game cast pretty much the entire time. And yes, I did see a lot of Grayson Allen threes, and it seemed like Ja had that big floater. I think it was like
he did, yeah. He had a
3, and he kind of hit a floater with like 10 seconds left to make it a 2-position game and not like Curry have that buzzer beater moment.
Yeah, exactly. And again, because that was since the Bruins game started so early, I kind of threw that one on after. And yeah, Job's an absolute stud. I mean, that's the thing too, and we'll kind of get to the first round matchups in a bit here. But yeah, I mean, they made plays on the stretch, and Andrew Wiggins didn't. He missed a few kind of shots on the end there, but yeah, I mean, it's a young and up and coming team, and like I said, I think we all expected the Warriors to win. As I tweeted out, and I think you liked it after the game. I said to people saying Steph's MVP, "Is this your king?" That classic Black Panther gift there, and that's really going back to something I didn't really realize, and you know, our guy Dame I think was a little vocal about this on Twitter. I think Steph was pretty vocal last year about how Dame couldn't win MVP because his team was an 8 seed. It's like, well, your team missed the playoffs. I mean, there was a lot of chatter for Steph for MVP. I know it's probably going to be Jokic here, but I mean, I don't know how you can make that argument. Again, if you like not making the playoffs, and again, 8 out of 15 on that side of the bracket there, it's like, wow, how valuable could you be? So, yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. Not what I expected at all.
Not expected, but again, the whole argument. I think you can be an MVP regardless.
I don't think in that league. I mean, yeah, Mike Trout not making the playoffs, sure, like that makes sense. I think you could even say it for I would say NFL, but even it's become such a quarterback, driven thing, and I think you could even see it. I think it's just, but basketball, it's like in a game that's so dominated by the top player, it's like if you're that good, how is your team not in the playoffs? Like
that's fair.
I don't know. It's so tough, and again, I know
not win MVP. Fact, Kevin Love isn't winning MVPs when the Timberwolves are winning 20.
No. Absolutely, and I think even like they were saying last year, like bottom of the playoff teams, I think even that's a bit of a stretch. So if you can't even make it, I know under the old format he would have, but still, well,
I think it should all be like, that very much depends on the situation, because like, let's say that a couple games, like the way like how close like the meat of the West was,
yeah,
they like. I know Michael Porter was incredible. He was like top 3 most improved. Let's say like, oh, like he was just like slightly worse this year, and a couple of close games that he won them go in the other direction. And the Nuggets are like the 6 or 7 seed. Does that mean like Jokic can't be the MVP with the same exact numbers just because like he lost like 1 or 2 more, like 2 or 3 more games?
So like, I'm not saying that.
That's what I'm trying to draw in the line. Like,
I think the playoff cutoff to me is like, all right, like you should get your team to the playoffs. Like, I don't know.
No, yeah, I get the playoff thing, but I don't think if you're like a 6 through 8 seed, because I know like Westbrook got some slack back in the day when he was like, oh, you're only a 7 seed though, empty stat.
Right.
Like, I think that was baloney. So,
right, but yeah, I almost okay. And I know you said how do we feel about this? Just because again, it probably would have been more exciting. I think I don't know. I think it's because like the Warriors already let me down. I wanted them to get the 7, just the Lakers and to face our Suns in the first round, which we'll get to in a bit here. But at that point, I'm like, whatever. Like this series it would have been entertaining because I think the Warriors had a slightly better chance to beat the Jazz. But again, another thing we'll get to down the line is that they gave them some trouble in Game 1. But hey, Jazz in the playoffs, Jazz exciting. So
that's the one thing. It's like, well,
why not?
It's like. We didn't get Curry, but at least we got Ja. Like
exactly, but yeah, exactly.
We're watching like DeMar DeRozan play the Jazz or something like that,
or just get the Pacers or Hornets in the Eastern Conference. But yeah, so that kind of settled the plan. Then we got our field. We also talked about the Celtics first 2 games, so we'll kind of just go in order, but skip them. First game on Saturday. Again, I was on the beach, so I didn't really see it. I caught some of the highlights there. A rematch of last year's series where the Heat upset the Bucks in the second round there. Tight game 1. Again, I think Jimmy kind of made a late play in that game, but then a big shot by Middleton and OT to clinch the game for them. And then they were one of the 2 game 2s that we had last night, and they absolutely blew the doors off them. So it seems like, at least as it's standing right now, and especially with maybe besides that big shot, Butler struggling so far, it seems like we might get a bit of a different series than we had last year.
Yeah, I was able to catch the stream on my phone the last couple minutes of regulation and overtime. Bucks just, I don't know, that was the team I was alluding to. Like, I was thinking about it, and then I even heard listening to a couple of podcasts from that Tyler, he was kind of like, I don't know, man. Like it just seems like the team you forget about.
They're under the radar. They're under the radar this year.
Yeah, it's like it was the
spotlight's off.
I'm trying to think of like teams like even just looking back at like football. It was like, oh, Mahomes was the MVP. They went off, but he lost to Brady. And then the next year, everyone was like,
they won.
Next year was like, oh, the Ravens.
And he was injured too.
It was like, oh, the Ravens, oh, the Pats. Like everyone just like, I remember that day. I was like, people forget the Chiefs are this good. Like I think they're
right, yeah.
And I think it's just like, yeah, like everyone's talking about like, oh, the Nets, like, oh, the Sixers, everything like they're starting year. It's like the Bucks just did their thing. They quietly upgraded. Like, yeah, Giannis had like very similar stats as last MVPs, and just the difference between Drew and Eric Bledsoe compared to how Bledsoe was playing last year. Like, I don't know. Like, I know this gauntlet. It's a gauntlet of a schedule playing the Heat that knocked you out last year, and then having to go through the Nets and the Sixers. But yeah, I don't know. I think they could be good enough. So.
Yeah, and I would say they kind of beefed up adding Drew Holiday in the offseason. It's funny you bring up that kind of cross-sport comparison. I'll even go kind of to the college ranks. But I was going to get a tournament last year, so it's tougher to tell. But like it could have been, we could have seen something like that with Baylor. You know, say they maybe didn't pull it out last year. Now this year, all the focus is on Gonzaga, undefeated. That's kind of like, again, they slide in a little bit under the radar. And even though they were a top 2 team, I think most of the focus was on Gonzaga this year. So kind of a similar situation there, where now Brooklyn has the big 3. Philly got the 1 seed. They had a fantastic year under Doc, and then now, like you said, Milwaukee was just kind of hanging around at the 3 seed all year, and then, you know, the whole Lakers going up and down, or the Clippers going to redeem themselves. Like, there's all these other teams that are getting talked about above the Bucks here, so yeah, maybe this is the year for them.
Yeah,
and so obviously looking strong out of the gate.
That's why I think Game 1 was so key. Like,
it was.
Lose Game 1, you're gonna be like, oh no, not again. But the fact that, and it wasn't even Giannis, it was a great shot by Middleton. Like,
that's how it's gonna have to be.
Yeah, because they're up by 3, and they kind of had a defensive lapse, and Robinson was able to tie the game, and then it was just a Middleton ISO, and he just had a long 2 for a step back to kind of ice it with like 0.8 left. So, and then just responding again, beating them out. I think just the one bone to pick I have to have this series is the Heat jerseys in Game 1.
Oh, the Bumblebees?
Yeah, they wore the yellow ones. I don't know.
There's just too many. There's so many jerseys going on in the league in general, and it's just like, why do we have to wear? Even it drives me crazy during the regular season, and then it just gets magnified in the playoffs. Like, no, wear your normal jerseys. This isn't hard. But anyway,
Celtics wore the road green. That's the one good thing they've done. Finally.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and again, okay, this is almost like a too little, too late thing, but I feel like they also wore their home whites like the last few games of the season, or the last few times they won. Their record, if you look at their splits this year, this obviously makes that big of an impact, but like they're obviously a 500 team. Their record in the home whites was actually like very good.
I think they were like undefeated until that Thunder game.
They lost like 1 game, yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I think that's good too, because they showed they can win in 2 different ways. They won a close one, and then they dominated last night. So they're definitely trending in that direction. Again, kind of sucks that, like you said, the gauntlet they have to go through with the team that knocked them out last year, a super team, and then most likely the Sixers kind of in the last round if they are able to get past the Nets. But I don't know. I think that Bucks Nets series could be really good. We'll have to see if we do in fact get that. But then I meant to swap these things here. But anyway, then the next game was the 4:30 game. I didn't catch a second of this game. I saw kind of some of the highlights there. But Mavs beat the Clippers in Game 1. And Mike, I saw the Clippers going to do this again. And then do you mean collapse like they did against the Nuggets last year?
Yeah, I know they technically beat the Mavericks, but it was more just like everyone's like, okay, like, yeah, I got all the jokes out last year, but the Clippers are still like good. But then it's like, oh boy, it's going to be like Kawhi too.
I thought they were almost the Western Conference Bucks this year, where it's like, okay, there's a lot of talk about the Jazz winning the 1 seed. The Suns are up and coming. The Lakers are injured, but they'll probably be back.
That's
so like,
why,
yeah.
like, I think like okay, I'm gonna go on a limb. I was thinking Bucks Clippers, but I knew one was gonna be pretty way off. And I'm like, oh god, is the Clippers gonna be the one that's way off?
It could be. I mean, I don't know. I still think they recover and win this series. I think they're obviously playing tonight, right? I think we both LA teams in action tonight. Yeah,
it's like 10 and 10:30. So
yeah. It's perfect that the roads get to the second intermission of Nashville, Carolina here. So I'll flip over to the beginning of the Lakers Suns game. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Luka's obviously
incredible.
Yeah, and I think Hardaway had a good game as well in Game 1. So that's really when the Mavericks are dangerous, is when Luka's going to go off. It's like, how's that 3-point shooting going to be? kind of on the perimeter there. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that one could potentially go. You make them work. I think it could be, especially now 6 or maybe even 7. But I do still at the end of the day see the Clippers coming out. I think they're overall the more well-rounded team. But an interesting point I do want to bring up is, do you remember what we were saying, and myself included, guilty as charged here, what we were saying or feeling about Kawhi 2 years ago? Like one of the top 2 or 3 player in the league, and I don't know. He's still very good, don't get me wrong, but it was like we were saying some dangerous things, I think, 2 years ago with Toronto.
I mean, you got to drink the Kool-Aid after that run.
Yeah.
I don't regret it. My takes, they're wrong, but I don't regret them.
No, I mean, yeah. It's crazy to kind of think about how different everything has turned out to be. And obviously he could shut us all up right now and go on another run with his third team to try to make the finals. But yeah, we're going to have to see more of him. And I know there's been a lot of load management all year, but he still seems tired. And someone's like, wasn't that the whole point of the load management? Is that you're not tired in these games? But anyway, so yeah, again, we'll have to see how that goes in game 2 tonight. So that kind of was, again, the second game on Saturday. Then we had the Nets Celtics, which we already talked about. And the nightcap, a series that, again, you said here, and I'm kind of inclined to agree with you, which is insane because this team isn't at even strength. But this Nuggets-Blazers series seems like it might be one that, similar to the conference semifinals 2 years ago, could go 7 games here.
Yeah, Murray was a huge loss, but I think if you looked at the numbers this year, he was actually their 3 instead of the 2. Michael Porter Jr. was incredible this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess it's like, okay, you're losing your 3 who could go off because, he didn't want to pack last year. So, you didn't know if that
refused to pack.
Is there going to happen again? Now you're relying on, these are good bench guys, but, between Rivers and Campazzo,
you talked about Rivers kind of sliding in. Yeah, exactly.
So between
kind of taking some of those minutes,
becoming the 3. I mean, they did Aaron Gordon too, so it's
yeah, that's true.
So it's yes, you're not as good as the team that they're projecting to be with Murray. They could have been who knows, maybe even win the conference.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Now, I feel they're kind of in the middle of that team that lost to the Blazers in the semis and the team that lost last year in the conference finals, where I can't decide which way. And even though this would be a first round exit, I feel just because the Blazers are on their level, so I'm just kind of this team's still very good, and also the Blazers so. I had a feeling it was going to be 1-1 in Denver, 1-1 in Portland. Yeah. Both teams went at home 5-6 and then 7. Who knows? I do think that Denver will win in 7, get the revenge from a couple years ago. But
yeah. Also, I'm watching the TNT pregame. Barkley keeps hitting. I'm obviously on mute because we're recording here, but he keeps hitting this button, and these strobe lights are flying. Everyone's dancing at the desk right now. It's very interesting to watching the volume here, but yeah, I'll probably pivot from you. I do think the Blazers, and maybe this is more of my want because I like the Nuggets, but I'm like, all right, well, let's save it for a year when Jamal's healthy because I do like Jamal here. But I think the Blazers will, or hopefully should, like I said, eke out a series victory here. Dame scored 42 the other night. I saw kind of late night or last night rather. But yeah, Jokic is that good, which is insane. He's kind of able to carry a team. I know you mentioned Michael Porter Jr. contributing. Same thing with some of the other acquisitions that they've had. But I don't know. I just think at the end of the day, a fully healthy team should be able to knock out a team that's maybe again a little bit better than them at full strength, but maybe that they're a little bit better than with Jamal Murray being out. So we'll obviously see there. But I think it should be a good series. You're right. And then moving on to Sunday's action. Kind of just going through these here. Wizards gave the Sixers a good game, but Simmons and Embiid kind of proved to be too much, and they were able to get the game 1 victory here.
Yeah, I think Simmons was at 6-15 and 15, something like that.
Yeah, again, putting up Rondo stat lines here with the not a lot of points, but a lot of rebounds and assists.
Kobe had a good game too, scoring. So it seems like it was a good game, but the Sixers are just more talented. So.
Yeah, I still wish we were somehow switched with it'd probably be going the same way, but I do wish we just switched with the Wizards.
Yeah, I guess as an NBA fan, it's well, this is kind of fun because it was there was some good matchups this year between the Nets and the Wizards, and that could be a good series, but I feel like the Nets are going to cakewalk anyone that walks through. So at least you got this like Westbrook and Embiid rivalry.
That's true, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. Again, probably will go Sixers maybe in 5. I'm thinking the Wizards might still. Russ might just go Russ one game and put up like 20. But yeah, I'm wondering if it's the guarantee thing because he's hit it for the 3rd time now, and the lights are flying around on the TNT set here. Right before the Suns Lakers game, which again we'll get to now, which was the 2nd game on Sunday. It actually turned out to be a really good game. Chris Paul got hurt early in the game, and you could tell he was not right. I was like watching it. Even shots he was making, you're just like his shoulder's not going up the right way, and he was kind of forcing them in. But he did what he could. I mean, he had a lot of turnovers, I think, because he wasn't quite able to handle the ball maybe as well as he usually does. But again, they were able to knock out the Lakers, and we'll kind of get to their side of it. But man, what a debut by Devin Booker, and also DeAndre Ayton was just an absolute monster on the board. So again, they're 2 top picks from the last 7 years now. 2 of their top picks there, really showing out in their first playoff game since 2010.
Yeah, I was kind of wrapping up down the Cape and on the road for this game. So like I was on Twitter mainly for the first half. So like I wasn't watching, but I was bored, ready to go before my friends were. So I was keeping up online with this game. So I saw the Paul injury. I saw what happened after that. Missed out on the LeBron thing where he, after the fight with Campaign, where he
oh man, again more theatrics,
got chipped,
more theatrics,
fell to the ground like he died, got up, ran to the scene of the fight, which is even funnier because the fight moved away from that scene by the time.
Then he fell down. I didn't realize it until Big Cat pointed that out on PFT the other day. I was like, I was watching that live, but I didn't see LeBron move. But that is in fact what happened. So obviously Chris Paul, his buddy, kind of gave him a little bit of an arm bar there, nowhere near as serious as he made it seem by being on the ground.
240 pounds of pure muscle.
That's the most annoying thing about this whole thing with Braun going down. It's like, dude, you're like 6'9", 260. Like, come on, man. Like, yeah, it's kind of insane. But yeah, Suns. It was one of those games. Again, it was just game 1, and there's obviously a long way to go in this series. But it seemed like one of those games that, since they didn't put the Lakers away, that they were going to kind of be able to Lakers are going to be able to come out on top at the end. Like if you don't put them away and you let them hang around, they'll come out and grab this game. But again, credit to Devin Booker and the rest of the team there, able to close that one out.
And you're just going to sound like the fact that if you're looking at it, Ayton versus Davis seemed like Ayton was the certified winner, not by one. Davis
a lot of grief given to Andre Drummond in that game, too, from what I saw on NBA Twitter, basically saying he's going to be bagging groceries. But yeah, DeAndre in 21 and 16, they're kind of showing it right now as this game gets started. Really good stat line from him in addition to Booker's 34. But yeah, Suns able to steal game 1. I think that was huge because, again, it's a weird.
Hope some painkillers can help out CP3 the rest of the way.
I know. He is, obviously suiting up tonight in the starting lineup. Davis struggled. I think I've decided Also, Caruso. I'm anti-Caruso. He just bugs me so much.
Caruso.
Oh no, he's so annoying. He's such a little twerp. Elmer Fudd looking head ass. I think it's the headband. I think if he didn't wear a headband, I'd like him. But I'm like, you look like a weird, demented, like Elmer Fudd or something. But I think I decided my favorite Lakers KCP. He just kind of just does his thing, scores buckets. Gets back on D. He just does his thing.
I think my favorite one is the other hyphenated guy, Taylor Horton-Tucker.
Yeah, he's also really good. Also, one of my favorite things about KCP is that he played under house arrest for a while there. And the ankle bracelet. He can only play home games.
Well, he could play some road games.
The Clippers. Oh, you could see the. Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to pull a fast one with the Clippers games. I'm like, well, yeah, technically. But yeah, so that was, again, a good start for the Suns as they get underway here against the Lakers in game 2. Just a couple more games here, again, kind of like a lot to get to with, again, the time that we've had off here. I had the Bruins game on mainly on Sunday, but I made sure to have the laptop up because I wanted to see the first playoff game in MSG since 2013. And again, I was mostly on mute because I was, again, watching the Bruins game, but I was able to tune in. And man, it just seemed like an electric environment at the Garden on Sunday, which is great to see. I'm big on the Knicks tape bandwagon. I really just like that series. That's one that I definitely hope goes 7. I like both those teams. We got to see a thunderous RJ Barrett dunk down the stretch there, but in the end, it was Trae Young who, again, I think has to look at the position of his shush. He was kind of doing it more up here, but hit a huge shot late in that game and was able to give the Hawks a 1-0 series lead at MSG.
Yeah, like I said, it's been 8 years. The fact that the city opened up for New York last week, so they go pretty full in.
They're vaccinated and unvaccinated sections.
Yeah, so it was a nice setup there, and I feel like even just Knicks fans it sucked, but it just felt good to feel something like a playoff.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you haven't even been able to experience pain. It's just been like a numbness for 8 years.
Just like what we are with the Celtics. Okay, let's get this season over with.
Yeah, that's where they mostly are. And again, just saw a completely different environment on Sunday night there. And again, it's also good to see. This was again, it's thanks to the Knicks that win because it would have been the Alec Burks game. It's really say he had a monster game. I think he scored 27 off the bench for the Knicks. So a huge game from him there, and also seeing vintage D Rose, which is fantastic. He was. I think he came in third in sixth man. Think he came in third in sixth man voting this year. So
by the two Jazz.
Yeah, behind both Jazz players. That was Joe Ingles giving Jordan Clarkson the award, which is great, and we'll kind of wrap up with the Jazz here after this one. But just great to see that environment. It was cool. Like again, anytime the Bruins were on a timeout or if it was intermission, I threw the volume on that. It seemed like an absolute electric crowd. They're already going with the F Trae Young. I don't know what he really did personally to them, but just a really competitive game, and Randall didn't have that good of a game either. So the fact that again you were able to
4 of 20, I think I saw that.
His percentage was not good. Yeah, he had kind of a big three lead.
I was on Twitter and box score.
Yeah, yeah, he hit a big three later in the game, but and I think Noel got banged up a little bit too. So again, all these factors, and again, I think this is a series that could potentially go 7. So again, you just got to come back and win game 2. It'd be tough to go down 0-2 at home, but if you can come back in game 2, get everything right. Oh no, the highlight factor still gives me nightmares. But
Williams close back to his lineup of wings.
that's true. But yeah, so again, I really hope the Knicks can make this series. Most random jersey I saw in the stands the other day, Mike, was a Steve Novak jersey.
I saw people.
I was like, Novak.
I think I saw Calderon.
Oh boy.
Channing Frye.
I respect Channing Frye, but like you said, need more from Randall. But yeah, just that electricity at the Garden, and also not going to nearly jump to this conclusion, but it did have kind of a Reggie Miller type vibe, where it's like this villain in New York hitting a big shot late in the game. So kind of cool to see them going after one player again, like we are, not us because we're a little younger, but like the world saw or the country saw in the 90s. But yeah, just cool to see action there again.
I'm just gonna put this in the tickler file. I know you're playing the Knicks, and the other side he's playing the same really really good team for back-to-back years, but what if Trae Young went the series before Luka?
Oh, if they win this series,
if he let's say the Clippers hold off and the Hawks win,
yeah.
So
he gets way too much grief for that, for being a bad trade. I think that was just kind of I don't know, it was almost like the Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, it was like
I think it kind of worked out. You know,
we like this guy and we got a second round pick. I think who was that?
Also,
Reddish.
What's that?
They got Reddish was the other pick.
I think so, with the extra pick, yeah. Also, not to mention, I think that's where the NBA system of trading kind of affects you, because it's like, they drafted Luka and then traded him for Trae Young, versus which I still think is a stupid rule. If you do it on draft night, you have to do it that way. Because in the NFL, it would just be like, they traded down to 5. Mavericks come up and take Luka Doncic, and then they get Trae Young.
It was like, they like Young. They got an extra first rounder for him because they could have got him at 5 instead of 3. So it's like I think they're going to draft Trae Young regardless. So.
Right, exactly. Kind of like when you would Tatum trade down. It gets more value there. I wasn't watching too closely, but already a flagrant foul for Anthony Davis in this game, which means he can pretty much do whatever he wants the rest of the game. But yeah, so again, fun to see. We'll keep an eye on that series. It's probably my favorite series that's going on, maybe besides the Blazers Nuggets. Just I think one that'll be very competitive. Also, hopefully Phoenix LA too. We'll see. But again, one final note here, one that I didn't really watch too much of, just because it's probably the most boring matchup on paper, just the Jazz Grizzlies. But hey, the 8 City Grizzlies were able to upset the Jazz in game 1. They were without Donovan Mitchell in game 1. I know he was unhappy because it seems like the medical staff kept him out of that one. He seems like he wanted to play. I know he'll be good to go for game 2. But hey, they steal game 1 here. I know it's tough to get ahead of ourselves both with that and even with Phoenix here too, because again, I just think back to the Orlando Magic beating the Raptors here in game 1, and then again the gentleman's sweep that it turned out to be. So tough to get too excited, but hey, maybe we will have a series here.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I'm just like, okay, maybe if Ja can do it, I'll try our best. And he seemed like he had a couple big takes down the stretch. I know he kind of drove past like Gobert on one. So hey, if Jazz can get testy and the Grizzlies might just be young and dumb, like
it would be so funny.
Dylan Brooks, he had like 34, something like that.
He did. I think it was him and I think it was 31. I think him and Ja combined for like 57 or something. Yeah. Because I think it was 31 and 26. Yeah. So yeah, great game. If you're a Grizzlies fan, you're not going to get swept, and you're in a good spot here. You've already kind of stolen back home court advantage there, but obviously Donovan Mitchell coming back for game 2. But man, we really ran through the gauntlet for both NHL and NBA there. Probably went about an hour there. So again, just happy to have some playoffs on for both sports here. Especially can't wait to the Celtics are out, so I don't have to worry about them.
Be an NBA fan.
We're on tonight. Yeah, give me the Rob Lowe hat. Actually, give me a divider, one with the NBA and NHL logo. That'll really get the haters mad there. But
I think that's the thing. Like, I feel like I'm getting more into the NHL just because like the Bruins are like good, and like the first round's always. That's the thing that happens. Like, and
it's deeper into the first round too. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I feel like always happens. It's like I always ban.
They get a head start.
Yeah, and I always do get very involved, but I feel like by the end, it's like I feel like I'm watching like the NBA final. I feel like I get mad at the NHL. I was like last year, I was like, I don't really care about the Stars. Like, I don't need to
the Stars and the Lightning. Yeah, you definitely get more randomness, which can be good, but can be bad in the NHL.
The Knights Capitals out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, that's a great series.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then obviously the Bruins were in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I weren't like that ended up being a good series, but I always feel like if I was like a neutral fan. I mean, it still would have been good. It's still better than the one we saw last year. Tampa Bay, Dallas, two hockey powerhouses.
The bubble for the NHL with the NBA, and then like it was like that point. It was like because like NHL was a little bit ahead, I think. So I was like, I'd rather watch the Celtics conference finals than the
right, exactly.
Stars.
Yeah, but yeah, again, we'll have another week of action to cover again with the unfortunate gap that we have again, but we'll have lots to unpack next Tuesday. That's all I have to say. Mm-hmm. Some of these series, especially for NHL, will be wrapped up. We'll probably be closer into round 2 action.
I have to do like NHL, finish off the first round, flip back to NBA, and then get into the second round games.
We'll have to see how the best way to kind of do that there. But yeah, so we have 3 of 8 teams in the second round for the NHL. Again, I'll probably a pretty full slate, especially like Canada. I'm glad Canada's kind of working out the way it is because they're able to catch up with obviously the Jets already on to the next round. And again, I saw 5 minutes left for the 3-0 lead for the Leafs, so that could end up being a 5-game series there. So could definitely be all caught up and have some weekend round 2 action for the NHL.
Yep.
But let's move on to a couple a couple final items here. First, PGA Championship, man. How about our guy, lefty Phil, winning at age 50, the oldest player by 40 years, really, to come on. I know it was weird. It's weird because the record was almost demolished, I think, about 5-10 years ago with Tom Watson. I know he was 59 at the time and almost won the Open Championship there. But Phil actually does get it done at age 50. Again, crazy accomplishment. It's been so long since he won his last major, but that puts him up to 6 for his career, which is not that I scoff at. I mean, it's the second most we've obviously seen in the 21st century here, only behind Tiger. And just, I mean, he'd been really struggling all year, too, if I looked at all his finishes. And so it didn't seem like he had a weekend like this in him. But, hey, he was able to get it done.
Yeah, it was. So what's it now? It's 3 Masters, 2 PGAs, 1 Open. So I know he hasn't won the U.S. yet.
That sounds right.
Yeah, but like you said, he hasn't won in a long time. Like since then, like all you can really think of is like the Ms. and Main commercials where he's dancing with a golf ball. Yeah, he's doing the match.
Yeah, those are awesome.
He's doing the match, which is fun, but it's kind of like it seems like kind of like the washed up guys with him and Tiger, and then even with the U.S. Open a couple years ago. Remember when he hit the putt uphill and the ball started rolling back to him and he just hit it again? Like,
oh yeah,
hit it again on the wrong side. So he
yeah,
like, okay, like he was there. He was just like the lovable guy. It's like, oh, it's good to see Phil. Hopefully, he makes the cut. And just like he just came in and just kept his lead. So it was just
yeah,
really remarkable what he did. It seemed like people really rally behind that.
yeah. No, oh my god, that 18th green too.
Yeah,
I got a combo of being excited about everyone getting vaccinated and having sports back to normal, and just that moment for Phil too, just seeing everyone surrounding him on that 18th green. And I don't know. I feel like we've gotten almost the same, and maybe I'm just thinking back to the Masters. I'm trying to think back to last year. The schedule was obviously off with COVID, but I feel like we're getting the same tournament over and over again, where it's someone has a 2-stroke lead going into the final hole, and then it's like they end up actually missing one of them. I mean, it ended up being 3 for him because I think Brooks kind of struggled at the end there, but it was just almost like there's no build up. It's like not even like, oh, if they miss this pretty easy putt, they'll lose, but if they're probably going to win, it's like, oh no, they have an extra buffer there. So we're kind of seeing a little bit of lack of excitement happening at the end. But no, great moment for him, and just winning at 50. Again, probably thought he was done because, and Mike, I did bring it up. Yeah, you were right about the 3 Masters, 2 PGAs, and an Open Championship. So it had been since 2013. That's when he won the Open Championship. 16 years since he won the PGA. But yeah, six majors overall for Lefty there. And yeah, hopefully we haven't seen the end for him. And again, it's good news for Tiger too. I know he's injured, but again, he's a little bit younger, so maybe he has a little bit more in him as well.
Also found out why Anthony Davis got his flagrant.
It's just with him and Crowder. What was it?
I got a bleach report notification, and then I opened up. So I saw it happen, and then I opened up Instagram, and I got a picture of it. He just kicked Jay Crowder directly in the balls.
Oh,
it's a live image of him going up for a jump shot. And
he's shooting. Okay, I mean, there's probably an argument there, but yeah, he certainly got the flagrant all right. But it was like Jimmy Butler at the bubble last year. I feel like Andre Drummond just smacked one 5 times and it accidentally went in the last time. But yeah, and then also our guy Brooks, he also looks good again, coming off an injury. As much as I like him, I'm almost a little happy that he didn't win because I keep forgetting with these golf bets, and this is why I need to legalize sports gambling. But I'm like, I have to decide the night before because it starts so damn early on Thursday that I'm like, yeah. I thought about throwing a little money on him, so I ended up not losing anything, which was nice. But
it was Wednesday night. Like I want to get up early again, so like I placed like a bunch for him at the bed, and then work got busy. I was like, holy crap! I just placed a lot of golf bets.
Yeah.
I lost all of them, hence why like I needed the weekend of wins to like be up a little bit. But it was like, oh crap! Look what happened. That was kind of a kick in the dick. But
yeah, but yeah, absolutely. But again, he looked good. I'm like, how about the clip that was making the rounds today with him and Bryson?
That face.
I just love it. I love the hate that's happening right there. But also confident injury.
Good. Doing his curls, but weren't really curls. It was the worst form ever.
Dude is such a maniac. Oh my god. But no, good to see him again in the final pairing.
I need them both to be good though. So
yes. Exactly.
I'm rooting for Bryson in these majors just because like I kind of want like
top 10.
Oh yeah, I meant to be in contention. Like that's
yeah.
Like, he already got his one, so he's clearly like 1-1. So.
Yeah. And Mike, I noticed here that you put definitely proof that this major is 4 out of 4. I agree, but like, what do you think proved that?
Well, even just like people like I talked to like are really big golf fans. Like I texted Dave and he had a pick, but like he didn't really like post in our group like, as much as he did with the Masters. Like, oh, like, did you see that shot? Like, none of my friends were talking about it. And even like when I was down on a weekend, we were like at golf courses, and of course it came up. We were like, always be like, wow, Phil's doing good, and like, but not like, oh, who's shooting up today? Like, not like,
yeah.
Wow, let's get back and like watch 18. Like, it's kind of just a lot of just like.
That is true. I don't know if it's like, I mean, we also had again one of our best weather weekends for the first time in a while up here, but also part of me wonders if it's just the name of it. Like, it just sounds so lame. It's like the PGA Open. Like, it just sounds. It's like we already have the U.S. Open, and
it kind of made more sense when it was the fourth one. So it was kind of like, oh,
right.
We just ran out of names, but now like it does make sense.
It's
May instead of like 2 weeks after the Open. So
like, can we throw it in like Canada or something? Like, that'd be cool. Like Canadian Open, like I don't know, or Australia, like they do in tennis. Like don't know. Like it'd be cool. It's just the fact that it's like, oh, it's another U.S. based one that rotates every year. It's just, I don't know. It just seems too much like the U.S. Open without being the U.S. Open. So yeah, it's definitely a little weird there. But yeah, congrats to Phil bringing home a number 6 here. And then why don't we wrap up with a little baseball? Again, I know we're kind of heading towards Memorial Day, so the first, about third or so of the season underway, and definitely seeing some log jams in these divisions, Mike. I know you kind of noted that here as well, but again, I know the Red Sox are in first a while, no longer the case because the Rays are on fire right now. Have a slight advantage over them. The San Jose Sox also did lose tonight. But the Rays have won 9 out of 10. I don't know exactly where you want to start with this. I figured I'd start in the AL East because, again, that's the Red Sox are kind of just the easiest place to start.
Because all 3 of the top of the AL East lost tonight. But before then, the Rays were on an 11-game winning streak. And I said 9 of the last 10. They lost their last one. They won 11 straight games.
Fair.
And then the Yankees won 7 straight before this. And then the Red Sox won 8 of their last 11 and somehow lost their first place.
Yeah,
so
insane.
I was listening a little bit. Like Lou was like, "Don't panic. Like you had this earlier. You were playing if you were playing 500 ball, maybe a little bit, but like they went from playing that 500 home stand for a bit, and they won 8 out of 3. Like they won series after series.
It's just the Rays were a little bit more on fire.
You had a good comeback win and Dunedin to win that series. It was on fire until Sunday, where they kind of put JV lineup out there. I believe Verdugo, Bogarts, and Martinez are all out on
to get that double day off.
Yeah, and they're playing Zach Wheeler too, so they kind of seem like they filmed it in. Tough loss tonight. Which
Dustin I'm sure appreciated with Zach Wheeler and our staff there. But
I did see. I was tracking a little bit. They had
Morton seemed like he did well.
Well, they had bases loaded, no outs in the first, and then first and third no outs in the second. They only came away with 1 run.
Yeah,
and that was the same thing that happened against the A's last week against Caprillion, where they just could not step on the gas early and. The offense really cooled down after that, and Morton settled in. So they lost 3-1 tonight. So
yeah,
again, top records are
all tied in the loss column, by the way.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the
20 losses apiece.
20 losses apiece for they have the Rays have 30 wins, we have 29, the Yankees have 28.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, the 3 rest records in the AL all live in the AL East. I know the White Sox are in right now, so they might sneak in there.
Well, they have 19 losses, so it depends on what you're looking at here. I guess by win percentage, though, we have 3 out of 4. They're slightly ahead of the Yankees. Again, so weird with all these, difference of games played here. But,
their Sox they'll be 28-19 if they hold on to their 7-2 lead right now.
And I know you mentioned that we're seeing 6 out of the best teams in the league are in 2 divisions, the AL East and the NL West. So, again, the Dodgers were dipping for a while, but they're another team that's been on fire. They've 7 in a row, 9 of their last 10 to get kind of back into second place there. You talk about a team like the Giants, they had played 500, so they've actually fallen down to third place.
Well, that was the thing. They were playing well until the Dodgers went to San Francisco over the weekend and swept them. So, I think they were 7-3 in the last 10, the last 10 prior to that. And then got a tough series against the Dodgers. Pretty sure they beat 11-0 on Sunday, but going down to Arizona right now, get some nice wins that are 3.
And Mike, I think we might have talked about this, but or kind of maybe off air here, but I'm reading this right as who started a game in that series?
Scott Kazmir.
I thought his career has died 2 different times. I in his race, still only 37. I say only, but that's obviously I get a bit older for pitcher. But again, it seemed like at one point he died because wasn't he in the league with the Sugarland Skeeters the first time Clemens came back? He kind of had these dips in his career, but again back in the major league somehow in 2021.
I could not believe when I got told.
Yeah, kind of crazy here. But yes,
the top of that division, San Diego.
Slam Diego is back.
A 9-0 homestand, going to the Brewers. They have given them trouble all year. I believe they came to San Diego in early April and swept them, and they took game 1 last night. But it seems like the Padres are up pretty well tonight, so they'll probably beat Milwaukee.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, kind of where it stands with those other divisions here. Again, kind of the AL East, NL West, 2 of the most competitive that we have going right now. Again, getting some great calls from Do. Always got to appreciate that out of the Padres. I think. Again, was it Tatis? Did Tatis set the grand slam over the weekend?
Yeah, Grand Slam over the weekend. I think
Yeah,
440 feet, something like that.
yeah, insane. So, and yeah, Mike, I know you kind of read a lot of the baseball notes here, and I'm going to do a quick rundown. I know we're getting running a little longer because we have our once a week episode rather than twice a week.
Yeah, I usually go straight across, but I feel like it made more sense to highlight the
two divisions. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm working my way up a little bit, so I'm going to go up from the NL West. I'm going to start in the Central of NL. Cardinals really slowing down. Cubs came into town, took 2 out of 3. Some couple late night wins, especially on Sunday Night Baseball, Hobby Baseball with the big home run. And then now that was in St. Louis. Now they're going to Chicago to play the White Sox. Dropped game 1 last night and down 7-2 right now. That should have been a pitcher's duel with Giolito versus Flaherty. Flaherty's pitched a lot better than Giolito this year, but it looks like Flaherty's still a lot better than Giolito this year, but Giolito's probably going to come out the victor in that one. So it's getting a little tight, especially with the Brewers be able to steal one against the Padres last night. So we get a little close, and then one little note at the bottom of the standings. Not quite the Pirates, but Jesse Winker on the Reds had 3 home runs on Friday. So nice little shout out there. More mediocrity in that NL East. Just let me see, live standings: 22 and 20 is first, 20 and 24 is last. Braves got up to that positive run differential with the Marlins, so it's just the Mets if they can somehow, if their AAA team can hold on, because
they have too many injuries, huh? Sorry, I realized I was muted.
Yeah, McNeil and Conforto out for a month. I believe Lindor's still out, though they did get a boost with DeGrom coming back. Only threw like 68 pitches, but 5 innings, 9 Ks, and they were able to beat the Rockies because they weren't at home, even though they did field game from last night. I think got their third road win. So more to see there. I know the Braves have kind of got back up to 500. That seemed to have been their battle all year. They usually drop 3 after that, but for the win tonight got back up to 500. So we'll see. And then the AL West, just looking at like the recent games in the past week, a lot of just beating up on each other, like not a lot of big games. The Mariners had to go to San Diego and get that wrath, that wagon of a team. And yeah, the A's and the Astros kind of playing mediocre baseball. It's still at the top of that division. And then going to the AL Central, the White Sox kind of.
Oh, my God. I saw you had one other note there, though, about the 20,000th player of all time suited up for Seattle this weekend.
Yeah, he was a catcher got called up at 5th, I believe, on Saturday. So 20,000 player, which is actually pretty incredible. I think how long
it's insane thinking that that's all that it is, because again, baseball is the oldest sport that we have. We have like records from like the 1870s, 1880s there, and every player, if you could somehow get every player still alive in the world and you seated them at Fenway Park, you'd fill half the stadium, which is insane. Fenway, again, the smallest of stadiums there, and you'd only fill it halfway. It seems crazy that there's only been that many players. It just shows you how hard it is to get to the show.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I thought that was really, really cool stats. Just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, and then bottom of the division, down here from the Twins, up in the Central, down here the Twins. Tigers still is not a good roster. Orioles kind of wavering off at 500. The White Sox, again, I think they might even be the best team combined in the AL Central. It's just if they can just tune out their manager, because I know we hit on that last show.
Yeah, old man La Russa.
Cleveland's hanging around. I just don't think they're that good. Luckily they have a pretty easy schedule this week they're down in Detroit. Yeah. But I just don't know where they get this offense from. It's pretty weak. The main piece they got back in the Lindor trade plays so bad they sent him down. Franmil Reyes, who's been their kind of biggest sort of offense, is clipped on the IL. And then one of their young pitchers, Tristan McKenzie, was supposed to step in and do really well, but he got sent down. ERA being up at 6.8, so it's just gonna be a lot of bullpen, a lot of Bieber, and some close games coming up. Well, especially because Plesac got placed in the IL again today. So,
I know. Yes, again, another injury for the squad over here. Got
a good game from Savali today, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see if they can piece this together with just the lack of offense they had beforehand and with performance and injury.
Yeah.
So I do think that the White Sox are going to make a little bit of run here and kind of have a comfortable lead by the All-Star break.
Absolutely. Where did I go? We have a lot to catch up on here, clearly. So I think that pretty much does it. The only other note I had was the the Julio Jones news. Seems like he wants to be out of Atlanta. Did you see that clip from Undisputed?
No, I heard it was pretty wild though.
I mean, it was basically like Shannon Sharp on the air, like pulled out his cell phone and called him. There's a debate about whether it was staged or not, and he was just like with Atlanta, he's like, yeah, I'm out of there or whatever. So like he just said that on the air and Undisputed on a phone call with Shannon Sharp. So I definitely believe what he says, obviously, but like again, whether it was staged or not, I don't know. But again, we're seeing a lot of Patriots rumors. Then I saw stuff that he's interested in either the Patriots or the Titans.
I was gonna say I think the Titans make more sense.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he'll definitely get the balls there, the targets, especially with again losing some of the receivers there. But yeah, that's really the only other note I think I had. Also in fight news, I think did they replace Fury with? I mean, not Fury. Joshua with Wilder.
Yeah, they had like an arbitrator involved. I think there was some sort of contract where they needed to have that fight before he could do a fight with Joshua.
Okay. Weird.
So they just like kind of like push it back, and I think Joshua found a replacement. So they'll probably find a time to find another place. But of course, Joshua, they're like social.
I don't hate it. I mean, that'll be a great fight. But
yeah, they like the social media fight where it's like you're ducking me, and he's like, no, Fury's like, no, we all knew beforehand there's gonna be an arbitration going on. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, again, I think that's we probably close to an hour and a half here. Again, rather than the 2 hour long, we kind of just did a giant hour and a half here. It'll be about another week till we're on again to discuss everything that's happening with both sets of playoffs we have, covering any news that happens in all the other leagues, tracking baseball like we usually do, and other than that, personal news, closing on that house Thursday. Very exciting. So we might have a little bit of a background. We'll keep in the apartment for June, but come July, we'll have a little bit of a different background here. So that leading into, of course, Memorial Day weekend. Hope everyone has a great Memorial Day weekend. I know Mass, we're kind of opening up on Saturday. We're kind of going back to the old way of things. Hopefully everyone that can hold true and everything. Won't have any sort of backslide there. But hope everyone has a great Memorial Day weekend, and we'll be back at it early next week.
Yep. Enjoy your weekend, everyone.